Long ago, humans did not have money. This might seem strange to us today. We use money every single day. We use it to buy food, clothes, and homes. But our ancestors lived in a very different world. They had to find other ways to get the things they needed. This was a time of direct exchange. If you had something and someone else had something you wanted, you might try to swap. This was the beginning of trade in human history, a simple but vital interaction. Imagine a small village. One person is good at hunting animals, another person is good at making tools from stone. The hunter might have extra meat, the toolmaker might have extra stone axes. They could decide to exchange these goods. The hunter gives meat to the toolmaker. The toolmaker gives an axe to the hunter. Both people get something they need. This system worked for simple needs in small communities, where everyone knew each other and what they could offer. This early form of exchange was based on immediate needs. People did not think about saving value for the future in the same way we do. If you had too much meat, it would spoil. You could not keep it for very long, so you would try to exchange it quickly for something useful. This meant that people focused on what they could use right away. Life was about survival and meeting the needs of the moment. This direct way of living shaped their societies and their interactions profoundly. Human societies were small back then. Most people lived in tribes or small groups. They knew everyone in their community. This made direct exchange a bit easier. If someone did not give a fair exchange, others would know. Reputation was very important. But as societies grew larger and people started to interact with strangers, this simple system began to face challenges. It was the first step towards more complex economic systems we see today. The system of direct exchange is called bartering. Bartering means swapping goods or services for other goods or services. There's no money involved in a pure barter transaction. You want a pair of shoes, the shoemaker wants some wheat. If you grow wheat, you can make a trade. This is a simple idea. It seems fair because both sides agree to the swap. Bartering was the main way people traded for thousands of years, a cornerstone of early economies. Bartering worked well when life was simple. People did not have a lot of different things. They mostly traded essential items. Food, tools, animal skins, and basic crafts were common. If you were a farmer, you might trade your extra crops for pottery from a local artisan. If you were a fisher, your catch could be exchanged for handcrafted tools. Each person offered what they had in surplus. This system helped communities share resources and skills among their members effectively. In a barter system, people needed to agree on the value of things. How many fish are worth one clay pot? How much wheat is equal to a strong spear? This was not always easy to decide. Sometimes people would argue about the fairness of a trade. The value could change depending on how much someone needed something. If you were very hungry, you might give more for food. This negotiation process was a key part of bartering, often involving lengthy discussions. Bartering also meant people had to carry their goods around. If you wanted to trade your cow for many different items, you had to bring your cow to the market. This could be difficult, especially if the market was far away. Imagine trying to transport a large animal or a heavy load of grain just to find someone willing to trade. This physical limitation was a significant drawback of relying solely on barter for all economic exchanges, prompting the search for more convenient methods. Bartering had a very big problem. It is sometimes called the double coincidence of wants. This sounds complicated, but it is a simple idea. For a barter trade to happen, two people must each have something the other person wants, and they must want it at the same time. This did not always happen. It was often a major hurdle. This fundamental issue made trading inefficient and sometimes impossible. Imagine you are a baker with many loaves of bread. You need a new pair of sandals. You go to the sandal maker, but the sandal maker does not need bread today. Maybe the sandal maker just baked their own bread, or perhaps they want meat, not bread. Now you have a problem. You have bread, but you cannot get sandals from this person. You must find another sandal maker, or find someone who wants bread and has something the sandal maker desires. This search could take a lot of time and effort. People might spend more time trying to find a trading partner than actually producing goods. Think of a farmer who has a surplus of apples. He wants to get a new blanket for winter. He must find someone who has a blanket and also wants apples. What if the blanket weaver wants pottery, not apples? The farmer then needs to find a potter who wants apples, trade apples for a pot, and then trade the pot for the blanket if the blanket weaver agrees. This complexity made it difficult for societies to grow. Trade was slow and inefficient. It was hard to specialize in a craft if you could not easily trade your products for everything else you needed. People needed a better way to exchange goods and services. The limitations of barter pushed humans to think creatively. They needed something that everyone would accept, something that could store value, and something that could measure the worth of different items easily. This need was a powerful driver for innovation. The problems with barter led to a brilliant human invention, money. Money is not a natural thing like a tree or a river. Money is an idea. It is something that people agree has value. This agreement is what gives money its power. It is a shared story that we all believe in. Humans are very good at creating and believing in such stories. This ability is what allows us to cooperate in large numbers. Money solved the problem of the double coincidence of wants. You no longer needed to find someone who had exactly what you wanted and wanted exactly what you had. Instead, you could sell your goods or services for money. Then, you could use that money to buy whatever you needed from anyone who was selling. This made trade much simpler and faster. It was a revolutionary step in human economic development, unlocking new possibilities. Think about our baker again. With money, the baker can sell bread to anyone who is hungry and has money. The baker gets money, then the baker can go to the sandal maker and buy sandals with that money. The sandal maker accepts the money because they know they can use it to buy other things they need, like leather or food. Money acts as an intermediary, a common medium that everyone trusts and accepts. This trust is the invisible foundation upon which all monetary systems are built. The invention of money was not a single event. It happened in different places at different times. Different cultures came up with similar solutions to the problems of barter. It was a gradual process of people realizing that certain items were more convenient for trade than others. These items then started to be used as a medium of exchange. This was the beginning of what we now recognize as money, a concept that would reshape human societies profoundly. Section 5. First money's shells, grain and shiny rocks. The first forms of money were often things found in nature. These items were usually durable, easy to carry and recognizable. For example, cowrie shells were used as money in many parts of Africa and Asia. These shells were small, light and did not break easily. People agreed that these shells had value. You could buy goods by giving a certain number of shells. Their natural scarcity and attractiveness contributed to their acceptance as a medium of exchange. In agricultural societies, grain or livestock were sometimes used as money. A farmer could pay for a tool with a sack of barley, or a person could buy land with a few cows. These were valuable because they were essential for life. However, using grain or animals as money had problems. Grain could spoil, animals could get sick or die. It was also hard to divide a cow into smaller parts for smaller purchases. This made them less ideal for everyday transactions compared to more divisible items. Later, people started using metals like gold and silver as money. Metals had many advantages. They were durable and did not spoil. They could be melted and made into coins of standard weights and sizes. This made it easier to measure their value. Gold and silver were also quite rare, which helped them hold their value over time. The shine and beauty of these metals also made them desirable, adding to their perceived worth across different cultures. These early forms of money are called commodity money. This means the money itself was made from a material that had its own value. A gold coin was valuable because it was made of gold. If the system of money collapsed, you still had the gold. This intrinsic value helped people trust these early forms of money. It was a tangible representation of wealth, something you could hold and see, which built confidence in its use for trade. Section 6. The magic of money, an agreement we all make. Modern money, like the paper notes and coins we use, is different from commodity money. A paper banknote itself is not very valuable. It is just a piece of paper with some ink on it. Its real value comes from something else entirely. It comes from a shared belief, a collective agreement. We all agree that this piece of paper can be exchanged for goods and services. This agreement is what makes money work. It's a powerful social construct. This trust is often supported by governments. A government declares that its paper money is legal tender. This means it must be accepted as payment for debts. The government also controls the supply of money. This helps to keep its value stable. If there is too much money, its value can go down. This is called inflation. If there is too little, it can slow down the economy. Maintaining this balance is a crucial role for central authorities in modern economies. Think about it. You work hard for a month. Your employer gives you pieces of paper or numbers in a bank account. You accept this because you trust that you can use these to buy food, pay rent, and get other things you need. The shopkeeper accepts your paper money because they trust they can use it to pay their suppliers. This chain of trust is what keeps the entire economic system functioning. It is a remarkable feat of human cooperation, built entirely on imagination and shared belief. So money is not just about metal or paper, it is about a system of mutual trust. It is a collective fiction that we all agree to live by because it makes our lives easier and our societies more complex and prosperous. Without this shared belief, the pieces of paper in our wallets would be worthless. This psychological aspect of money is perhaps its most fascinating and critical feature, allowing strangers to cooperate on vast scales effectively.